America today faces a choice between two futures. The Democrats have charted a course of reckless spending and a lot of government regulations, and the alternative is limited government and freedom. The 2012 election will determine which course we choose and also define the future for our children. America today is in an economic crisis. It's of frightening proportions. If you take a look at what governments do, they create these little machines that spend money. You can think of it as autopilot spending. Today, this year in America, our autopilot spending, which would include Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, S-chip, and interest on our debt, because that's something that we have to continue to spend. That autopilot spending is exactly equal or about equal to the revenue that comes in for our government. What that means is that everything that you and I have understood to be the typical functions of the federal government is being financed with debt. That says that if you want to balance the budget and you want to leave the autopilot spending in place, it means you would have no defense, not one Jeep, not one soldier or a person left, and the rest of the government too would be shut down. Be no prisons or parks, there would be no FBI, no CIA, no departments of anything, no Congress, Senate, or White House. And that is a serious economic crisis. Then the problems become more personal and come home as a result of these policies. We see joblessness, which officially is supposed to be something about 9%, and yet we all know that that doesn't include the people who have given up hope in finding a job. We see gasoline at $4, and we see an endless stream of taxing and spending and debt, and the housing crisis continues onward and onward. I stand for the alternative, for the idea of limited government, the idea of creating an economy through the private sector that allows people to have jobs. I believe in the concepts established by our founders, that we don't need those large governments and all of those taxes and debts and spending. In fact, that what we need to do is to develop American energy. We need to secure our borders, and we need to not only simplify our taxes, but reduce them as well. As a Missouri congressman, I've taken the principle and tough votes to stand behind those basic principles that our founders established. Sometimes the votes were taken in opposition to my own political party. But I have been at least a consistent conservative and have done that for a number of years. People might say that, well, Akin, you're too conservative. But in today's economic conditions, it may seem that what some thought was too conservative is probably just about the medicine that we need. The people of Missouri decided to reject Obamacare with a vote, 71% no. I voted no and spoke strenuously against it, and Claire McCaskill continued to support it this year. I also opposed all of the bailouts. There were a lot of different kinds of bailouts, even from cash to clunkers, and what we did with the different corporations that we bailed out and Wall Street, all of those things, regardless of party. I voted no on those things. In addition, there was that infamous stimulus bill, a stimulus bill that in a matter of a flash of a single vote, that we burned up the amount of money pretty close to the amount of all of the revenues that various states accumulate. It would be in excess of the amount of money if you took all of the supposed earmarks for the last 10 years and multiplied them by 10, all in one vote. Disappeared at $787 billion. And what do we get for it? Did we get the jobs that were promised? Most certainly not, and it was not money that we had to spend in the first place. The Declaration I was looking over, we remember some of the more famous parts, but Declaration was, among other things, a list of complaints against the king. And one seemed to jump out at me, and I just wanted to share it with you here today. Talking about old King George, he said, "He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance." Does that sound a little bit familiar? Do you know, the founders believed that it was our duty to resist tyranny. The difficulty that we face should not be underestimated, but at the same time, we need to recognize the fact that our founders before us faced certain times of defining crisis. A particular situation where it seemed that history was hanging in the balance, just as we will face in 2012. I think of the Pilgrims, a little band, about 50 or so of them, huddled on the shore of New England, clinging to their dream against all hope, possibly, that would seem normal or rational. And then there was that tall General Washington on his knees in the snows at Valley Forge, taking on his shoulders and on the little farmers of our land the fight against the biggest military power in the world. And then there was the tall President Lincoln, a man of sorrows in his office in the middle of the Civil War. Each of those times were defining events in what America would be in the future. And just as they did, we need to cling to our dream, we need to trust God, and then we need to give it our all. And so now, I would conclude, as I began, that Missouri has a choice of two futures. And I'm determined to make sure that Missouri voters have an opportunity to exercise that choice. For that reason, I will be running for the U.S. Senate in the 2012 election. And with the support of the Missouri voters, and by God's grace, we will chart a new course, a course of limited government and a course of freedom, a course to return to the words that Abraham Lincoln penned, that this was an experiment dedicated to the proposition that all men could be free and prosperous and live the American dream in this great land. I have confidence in the state of Missouri. I have confidence in America. We're going to win this race, and we're going to return to a new course. God bless you all, and thank you so much.